This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We had Red Raider Baseball with Tim Tadlock, the first show of the year last night. Jamie was with the skipper. Did you learn anything last night about the first two series that maybe that you didn't know or that you had observed, and then Coach Tadlock kind of circled back to it and you went, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that.
I would tell you the thing that I learned last night more than anything is that there's just no panic. None whatsoever. They expected it would be tough early on, and they knew they had to get a bunch of new players accustomed to playing at this level and get them on the field and see how things would go. And there were reasons for certain players playing all three games this weekend and others not, and that had to do with you don't just give a guy one game and say, here's your chance, you better be good today, or you're not back out there. You kind of got to give him a chance to get him in rhythm early on in the season. And so, again, they definitely feel like they need to improve on defense and all that good stuff, and that's definitely their focus right now, but at the same time, no panic at all.
And that doesn't surprise you at all, does it?
No, absolutely not. Neither part of that.
Yeah, because it sure seems like, and maybe, I guess on one hand it's a good thing, on the other hand it's a bad thing, because on one hand, the fan base has, and should, based on your history with Coach Tadlock and his teams over the years, a very high expectation. But yet on the other hand, the hand-wringing and the immediate sky is falling because, the first two series haven't gone your way. You would think that the fan base would be a little more open to what's gone on, as opposed to, oh my God, it's just awful, it's going to be terrible.
Probably builds off of last year's disappointment. Mm-hmm. I think that in some regards, Tech baseball fans have been a little bit spoiled in that things that have gone so incredibly well, through the Tadlock era, that they're hating to see it. Last year was a bad year. I mean, people talk about down year since 2020. I mean, you're 3 years before last year were a super regional and 2 regional finals. There's, 100 programs across the country that
Absolutely.
would take that over a 4-year stretch. So, not as down. It's not Omaha, it's not hosting supers. I get it. And so technically it is down from what you're used to, but it's not that far down, except for last year. Last year was definitely a down season. And so I'm sure fans are, worried that you're going to be the same team this year that you were last year. And, again, you got to take into account how tough the schedule has been early on this season. We'll see if, there's no guarantee that they, turn things around or that they suddenly get better. The schedule this weekend's tough again, and next weekend's tough again, and at Grand Canyon. So but the one thing that you can be certain of is that you're going to be battle tested. That's for certain.
Did Choice use the fact of the day that I gave him? Not the fact, the fact of the day with the number 6.
I don't remember.
Texas Tech baseball this year has played 6 top 25 opponents in the non-conference. Your football and basketball teams combined over the last 3 years have played 6 top 25 opponents in the non-conference.
Yeah, it's just different sports. You schedule differently.
It is, but it's also, when everyone looks at the basketball schedule and we're like, why can't we play anybody? Well, the baseball team is playing somebody. They're playing, so far, nothing but top 25 opponents. Now, that is going to eventually change. But it's
Illinois is not ranked for Friday.
It's going to eventually change. But the concept that when you can't complain about the one and then also complain about the other. You have to pick one. Yeah. If you want to say that the basketball team scheduling is terrible, I agree with you. It is. If you want to say that this baseball team can't win a baseball game because they're facing nothing but top 25 opponents, those two arguments contradict each other.
Well, I think Tim Tadlock would say, "Hey, we want to schedule tough and we want to win." So
Sure.
he wants his team to play better.
You have to factor in the level of the opponent that you are playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's trying to make excuses for his team. He thinks they need to play better.
Absolutely. And there's some absolutely concerning things that are going on.
That was 1,000% a winnable game on Sunday.
It was.
And you beat yourself.
But taking 2 of 3 from a top 25 team is a really, really good thing when you're not a top 25 team.
Fair.
And you had a chance to do it. But that gets lost because you're 1-5 right now, and that means the baseball team's never going to win a game again when they're facing nothing but top 25 opponents.
I'm guessing
if
that,
they play
like,
defense and pitch like they did on Sunday, they may never win another game again.
There's some truth in that, but
then
still.
everybody's hair will be pulled out. I'm guessing all the questions that we suggested for you to ask Coach Tadlock, you had better questions for him, and you kind of put those aside.
I asked every question you told me to ask him, Chuck.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Every single one. Yeah,
they were all off air, and he said, "I'm not talking about that."
Yeah.
And he said, "Did that come from Chuck too?
Yeah.
Did that come from?"
He said,
Chuck
"Did that
too?"
come from a guy with a red nose or red shoes?"
Wow. I do have red shoes. I don't have a little thing for my nose. But
okay.
At any rate, I suffer from that sometimes, making myself to look like a bit like a clown. But that's part of the entertainment value that we bring to this show here. The balance between you and I and Jeff, Jamie, the three-legged stool that is.
I do think it would be entertaining one time to have you host Red Raider Baseball with Tim Tadlock.
Oh, I'd love that.
I know you would. I'd
love that. I'd have great fun with that.
I just want to be on the email chain afterwards with Learfield. Guys, I don't care if Jamie and Haxton are on their deathbed. One of them will host Red Raider Baseball with Tim Tadlock.
Before me, no.
I think that would be fun.
I will tell you something funny from last night. So, we were out to dinner and we ordered our meals ahead of time a few days ago. And when I ordered and this will come as no shock to you just from the technology that is me, when I ordered my meal, I was having a hard time getting it ordered. So I ordered it, and then we got to the restaurant last night, and they were like, "There's 2 Chucks. Where's the other Chuck?" And so apparently both my orders went through, and Coach Gerlich informed me and everybody around. No, there's only one Chuck. That's the
just truth.
One. There's just one. That's all we can handle.
They're just cut into our NIL budget.
Because I got it.
Chuck is ordering extra meals for himself. I wonder why we can't get the Lady Raider recruits that we want.
That's right.
Don't have the money.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
25. And with this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
Yeah. Looking at today, gentlemen, in 1964, Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay, wins his first world heavyweight boxing title when Sonny Liston fails to come out for round 7 at Convention Hall in Miami Beach. 1972, lopsided Major League Baseball trade. St. Louis Cardinals trade pitcher Steve Carlton to the Philadelphia Phillies for pitcher Rick Wise.
I did not know.
Yeah, it didn't go so well for the old Cardinals, did it?
I did not know that Steve Carlton was with the Cardinals. I did not.
I think that's where he met Tim McCarver.
Okay.
Why?
Well,
what is it?
I think McCarver was like his designated catcher for a while.
Okay. Okay.
Both players were involved in salary disputes with their respective teams, so they were traded for one another. It was, you get to deal with our problem, and we'll deal with yours. 1991, businessman Bruce McNall, hockey legend Wayne Gretzky, and actor John Candy by the CFL's Toronto Argonauts. That was a huge deal when it happened.
Yeah, it was really weird too, right?
I don't know that it was weird. I mean, I don't know anything about Bruce McNall, but both John Candy and Wayne Gretzky are from Canada. That them getting in the mode to purchase a CFL team is not like unheard of when they've got money to do that kind of thing with. But that was news everywhere when that happened. 1993, Will Flemons helps Texas Tech snap an 11-game losing streak to the Texas Longhorns, nailing the game winner with 1 second left in a 105-103 victory. Way to go, Red Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2019, James Harden's scoring streak of games with at least 30 points ends at 32 as he scores 28 in the Rockets' 119-111 win over Atlanta in Houston. It's the second longest mark in NBA history. I remember yesterday, I couldn't remember if it was Cupcake Day. It was Cupcake Day in Canada. So we needed to go north of the border to go get a cupcake on Cupcake Day.
They would boo us.
Well, not if we were getting cupcakes. You can't boo cupcakes. Today, however, is Chocolate-Covered Nuts Day.
Out on that.
Oh, chocolate-covered almonds, please, many.
Peanut
often.
M&Ms.
Yeah.
Almond M&M. I mean, all of that is chocolate-covered nuts.
Actually, the almond
take the peanut
M&Ms are
M&Ms.
not that good.
Really?
Yeah.
I like them.
I'm disappointed.
And then again, there's not many M&Ms I don't like.
Because I love, like, Hershey's with almonds, Snickers with almonds, all that.
Happy birthday to Joey Maguire's favorite, Ric Flair, 76. Sean Austin, 54. Bo Nix, 25. Joe Kim Noah is 40. Sally Jesse Raphael is 90. Jeff Fisher, 67. Paul O'Neill, 62. And Andrea Kramer, 66.
I used to love listening to Sally Jesse Raphael. I thought she was really good on the radio. She was really good.
I only ever know her from a TV show.
Yeah, on the radio?
Yep.
What'd she do on the radio?
She had a talk show host. She was a talk show. She had a talk show. She was like, I think she was like before
Did she wear
Larry
red
King.
glasses on the radio too?
I'm sure.
I don't know. I think so, probably.
She'd look weird without him.
We're going to Poughkeepsie. She was on before Larry King. Larry King was on late night. I remember driving after high school and junior college games and listening to Larry King. Larry King live before he went on CNN.
And on this day, 1862, guys, U.S. Congress passes the Legal Tender Act, authorizing the use of paper notes to pay for government bills. This ended the longstanding policy of using only gold or silver in transactions, and it allowed the government to finance the enormously costly Civil War long after the gold and silver reserves were depleted. The paper notes were called Greenbacks. They worked much better than expected. The government was able to pay its bills, and by increasing the money in circulation, the wheels of the northern commerce were greased. The greenbacks were legal tender, which meant the creditors had to accept them at their face value. And in 1862, Congress also passed an income tax and steep excess tax, both of which cooled the inflammatory pressures created by the greenbacks. And that is this day in sports history.
All right, this day in sports history. Thank you. Yeah, so Tim McCarver was with the Cardinals. Then he went to the Phillies. Then he went to the Expos. Then back to the Cardinals. Then to the Red Sox. Then back to the Phillies. But he and Steve Carlton, he was his guy for catching, and that was just part of the deal for McCarver and Carlton. They were teammates, and they were battery mates as well. Let's see here. This from Robert. Mr. Wu is 76 today. Mr. Wu. You guys know who Mr. Wu is?
I do not. Is that
I think that's a movie character.
Oh, okay. It's not the guy, the Ric Flair who yells "woo" or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Woo! Yeah,
well, that
maybe,
is,
yeah.
but there's also a Ronnie Woo Wickers,
Ronnie Woo-Woo.
Chicago Cubs fan and a celebrity known for his unique cheering at Wrigley Field. So I don't know if that's what we're talking about either.
Yes, and some of the Cub fans were, and the White Sox fans too. Remember when the White Sox won the World Series and he was there, and there was like a little controversy about him joining in on the celebration. But, this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, because we get plenty of commentary and critique on this program. So every once in a while we got to read the good ones. I've said before and will say again, Morning Drive is a unique show. You three guys make it great. Well, thank you. We try.
Thank you very much.
May not look like it, but we try.
I definitely agree we're unique. And I definitely agree we're three guys.
There you go. Yeah, that's
never imitated and often made fun of. Yes.
My birth assignment, Jamie, no doubt. Not changing it either. Okay, just in case anybody was wondering. 6:52 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. I was thinking that Sonny Liston Cassius Clay fight was his last fight. Might have been his last big fight. Now he would take on Muhammad Ali on November 13th, 1964. So the one that you were talking about earlier, Jeff, was not his last one. I was thinking that might have been his last one. His final fight was against Chuck Wepner. Wepner would have a role in the movie Rocky for the basically the genesis of it. That was what that was kind of. Chuck Wepner was the guy that got beat up, but he made money doing it. All right. Marquis says this is the classic Temptations lineup. Somebody else says the Morning Drive with the Three Stooges. I don't think that's a compliment, but okay. Somebody else says the Red Panda didn't disappoint. She is 55 years old. Man, she can still toss that leg. Okay.
She can still kick a bowl.
Yeah. Just got this from the official. He says, would you say happy anniversary, 30th anniversary to my lucky lady Susan? Happy anniversary to the Sneeds. And
yeah,
God
wouldn't it
love
have
you,
to
Sue.
also say it to Chris too, right?
Right. Well, he said, would you say happy 30th anniversary to my lucky lady Susan?
Hey,
Yes.
Chris, I bet she's right there in the bed next to you. How about you just tell her?
Happy anniversary to the Sneeds.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We'll have high school basketball on the air for you tonight. The Friendship Tigers on the boys' side will take on Little Elm from McMurray. 6 o'clock, the broadcast time on Double T 97.3. So we look forward to that as Choice gets to visit his Abilene family tonight. Jamie?
Back in the lean.
Back in the lead.
He spends a lot of time on the road this time of year.
He does, man. God love him. He is a driving machine. Other games involving our schools in town and then around the area. The Monterey Plainsmen will play for the right to go to the state championship game tonight. They'll take on the number 6 team in the state, Frisco Memorial. Monterey is the number 5 team in the state. They'll play tonight at Hardin-Simmons. That tip is at 6:30, so good luck to the Plainsmen as they try to get to a state championship game. That would be something, Jamie. That would really be something.
It'd be awesome. Absolutely.
You got the and I'm sure there's, we haven't really talked about this a whole lot, but I'm sure there's pressure on that entire team because they know that they're really talented and obviously, and having a player like Aaliyah Chavez on their team, who's the number 1 recruit in the country that every team would love to have on their team next year.
Don't forget they have 2 other Division I players on the team too.
No.
Yeah.
No, but my point was that when you have a team that's that talented, whether it's her and the others, that I think it comes sometimes with extra pressure, because you're expected to do well. And I think sometimes when you're expected to do well, it makes it even a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Also, tonight, Idalou will play in the state semifinals. This is Class 3A Division 2. They'll take on Paradise tonight in Clyde, and Idalou is the 11th ranked team in the state. Also,
Go
this
Idalou.
evening, huh?
Go Idalou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nazareth last night with a win over Jayton, so they advance to the state championship game. In boys play, in addition to Friendship and Little Elm playing tonight, again, you'll hear the game at 6 if you so choose on Double T 97.3 or the Double T 97.3 mobile app. So all you Friendship parents who have, relatives out of town, or maybe grandmama, or, G-Pa, or whatever you call him, lives out in, Sheboygan, and can't make it to Abilene in time for the game, they can listen on the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. So make sure you tell, all the peepaws and the meemaws out there in the hinterland that they can hear their little darling grandson's game tonight on the Double T 97.3 mobile app, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't have your grandpa name picked out yet. I mean, your kids aren't even close to getting to that stage yet, but would you be a peepaw or a G-paw or a grandpa or just grandpa?
Grandpa.
Okay.
Grandpa.
Seminole will play Estacado tonight at LCU. That is Class 4A Division 1. The Estacado boys are the number 5 team in the state. And this was brought up the other day, and I think it's somewhat fair. I think sometimes, for whatever reason, they get kind of off the radar a little bit. And so I really hope they're always a talented team. Tony Wagner, he won his 500th game as a head coach this year. That's a team that I would hope to win tonight against Seminole. Slayton is in action tonight, Class 3A Division 2. They'll take on Holiday. That'll be in Haskell, and then Abernathy and Ropes will play tonight at the Texan Dome. Jamie, in Levelland. That'll be at 7:30 this evening. And somebody, don't forget about New Home, Chuck. We've talked about them, and they won last night handily over Morton in Levelland. So somebody says, Chuck, what about New Home? Yes, go New Home. The Leopards, they won last night.
Yeah, hard to preview them when they already played.
Yeah, right. They won. Yeah. So anyway, that's the games that I kind of highlighted for you from a high school standpoint from last night. All right, Texas Tech and Houston. Did you have a takeaway from last night's game that was positive? Because the negative takeaway is obviously your shooting and your 3-point shooting and the 9-minute drought that you had and making a field goal. Your defense played well. Defense played well enough to win, but did you have a personal kind of thought of like, okay, this was the positive for me?
No, I just love the way that the team battled, that there was no give up, and the fact that you were down 2 key guys, and man, that was a dogfight, and you still made it really tough on them. Just kind of shows the heart that team has, and so, I was a fan of that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think so too, man. It's frustrating. They get there. JT Toppin makes a bucket at 16:31 of the second half, to pull Tech to within 3 at 42-39. And you'd get a couple free throws, and then you'd have another drought. You'd have some free throws again. Elijah Hawkins would make one at the 13:30 mark. But, man, you would not get another field goal, Jamie, until Kevin Overton makes a layup with 7:27 to go in the ball game. And it's stunning that you're only down by 5 at that point. And you had some chances, even down the stretch. It felt like that 3 that they got was just a big dagger. Kerwin Walton makes a 3 to make it 62-57, and you get it to 62-59, and Houston calls timeout, and Uzon makes a huge 3 with 45 seconds left, and it kind of ends all hope.
Yeah, that was massive because you had a chance to get a defensive. Was it a defensive rebound or did you just poke the ball away? I think maybe they just poked the ball away, and it looked like the Red Raiders had a chance at the loose ball. Trying to remember. Either way, they didn't get the loose ball. They kicked it out, and he buried a 3 and gave him a career high. He was really, really good last night. But, man, you were right there. I mean, even, down whatever you were with a couple minutes left in the game, and it felt like it's going to be really difficult. You were able to whittle it down and got it to a 3-point game, and then almost came up with a loose ball with a chance to tie. But instead, they came up with a loose ball, kicked it out, and he buried the 3, and that was an ender.
Yeah, that was an ender. Somebody says this: negative, a lot of things. Positive, a gassed 6-man rotation made Houston have to fight for the win. Yeah, there's truth in that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of truth in that. And I did feel like that. It was a heavyweight fight. I mean, they were talking about it like that on TV last night. That it's basically a heavyweight fight, and you had two teams duking it out, and man, I just loved it. I thought everything looked cool. How about the kid that hit the putt, Jamie? The length of the floor.
Well done.
I mean, that was awesome. I think he won a pair of iPods, but
nice.
He gets the highlight of the year. He gets to do a chest bump with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's what I love about Mahomes and his fandom. I mean, it's not fake. I mean, it's real. And he hopped off that chair.
And on all of that is great, but I'm just going to ask a question. Have we won a game with him in the stands in any sport?
Yeah.
We have?
Yeah.
When we honored him for the Ring of Honor in the Hall of Fame, we lost. When he came last year at the football game, we lost. We lost the basketball game last night. I love Pat. Pat's a great guy, great fan. We haven't won with him here.
Well, I mean, we won with him in the Final Four when they beat Michigan State.
Not here. Here.
Was he there for the national championship game or just the semis?
I think he was there for both games.
Okay.
I think so.
7:25, Chuck.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to look at the Red Raider football schedule. And last year we asked this question, and it elicited a fun response from Chuck. So I want to go back to it again this year and hope for another fun response from Chuck. You good with that, Chuck?
Absolutely, sure.
Okay. All right. This is not a math question that you can answer Arkansas, in case you were wondering.
Sure.
That was a basketball question. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me who you think the Red Raiders' first loss will be against in 2025.
What was so funny about last year? Just curious.
Didn't you got up to like 12-0? You had us undefeated.
No, that was 2 years ago with Texas.
Was that 2 years ago? Okay.
That was 11-0, and then you faced Texas.
Okay. All right.
Because you just got to roll, and you get a roll going, and you can just keep winning games.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to beat UAPB. God help us if we don't. Kent State, you're gonna beat them. Although I've walked into a stadium with a team and played Kent State, and I thought, this will be an easy one, and they got beat that day. So that was not good.
Well, we should probably just put that down as a loss then.
Yeah, I'll keep myself out of that one. Oregon State, you're going to win that game. At Utah, at Houston. I think you're. Oh man, I hate saying this. I think your first loss is going to be your first Big 12 game at Utah. You just until you start winning these games in September on the road. I think you got to look at this and go, that's going to be a really, really hard game, regardless of all the personnel and all the guys that you brought in, and changing how you do things. One guy sitting on the left-hand side, now he's sitting on the right-hand side. Bus driving backwards to the stadium, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to say Utah.
Yeah, I'm going to go the one before with Oregon State. Joey's going to have to go 3-0 in the non-con before I say he'll go 3-0 in the non-con. Been burned 2 years in a row, 3 years. Well, yeah. I need to see it first, and that's your toughest game.
Okay. The other years it was on the road.
Sure, right. Now I hear what Jeff's saying, though. He's kind of piggybacking off what I said, too. I mean, I don't blame him. It's fair.
Okay. You Pink Raiders.
Okay, Jamie, so I'm guessing you're saying they're going undefeated.
I'm going November 8th. I think we're getting to 9-0.
Wow.
I got the home game against BYU. And that would really be disappointing.
Really disappointing.
I can't believe that Jeff didn't pick Kansas State on November the 1st.
Didn't get that.
That must be our second loss for Jeff, or third.
Let's see. What would be my second loss? That's a great question. I would call Utah a coin flip. I would
really? I mean, they were terrible last year.
It's the road thing. First road game of the year. Getting the kinks worked out of the season early. I think you are a better team than Utah, but that doesn't mean you're going to perform better. To me, Arizona State, I could see going either way depending on what they look like coming back for how good they are. But yeah, then Kansas State is a loss.
That was one that was definitely in my mind. Yep.
And then yes, Kansas State would be the next loss after that.
I just refused to pick Kansas State because I knew, with Jeff's hatred for Kansas State, Chuck's hatred for Kansas State.
Pure respect.
Yeah.
It's not hate. It's nothing but absolute respect. I have acknowledged they are our daddy. You win. I'm done.
I hate them. So
yeah, we're well aware.
I know you are. I know you are.
I just hate losing to them all the time in football.
I just don't. I think Arizona State is going to be next year's TCU the year after they play for the national championship.
There's a little bit of feel to that. I think they'll be a little bit better than that, Chuck, but I don't think they'll be who they were last year. I think it's a winnable game for the Red Raiders.
Yeah. I hope it's a night game, just from the standpoint, not like too late, but I mean.
Why? So we have to stay up till 2 a.m. again?
Well, I mean, that's what I said.
Or 4 for us with the post-game show?
Yeah.
Why do you want that one to be a night game?
Well, it's just thinking of the weather, in October, but maybe it's nicer. It still gets a little warm probably on October the 18th.
Probably so. Okay, I'll give you that.
That was really what I was thinking. But I mean, we play in warm weather games here, so I mean,
it's not like this isn't Texas
right now.
Yeah, and the Kansas State thing, I just feel like it's time for us to beat them.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
It's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, I'd say pastime.
I feel like the White Sox fan in me is coming out. You mean it? It has to happen? Really?
What has you, man? If we're, I'm going to be Billy Bitter if we're like, let's see, 10, 11, 12. If we're 9-0 and we lose to BYU, oh.
Well, I mean, I think BYU is going to be one of the better teams in the conference.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's a home game too, though, Jamie. That'd be a big game.
Well, yeah, it's November because you finally beat Kansas State and you're celebrating so much and listening to your press that you lose to BYU.
Hangover. Yeah,
that's what would happen there.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're, let's just say this: if you're 9-0 and you beat BYU, do you feel like that you have to be 11-1 to make the Big 12 championship game, or is 10-2 going to be good enough? Do you think?
No clue. I mean, you just have to see what other teams are. I think there's a possibility of going 10-2 and missing out, but really, it's not the 10-2 part. It's about what you're doing in Big 12 play.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I think you're going to go undefeated in non-conference play. Obviously,
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
I don't worry about the Oregon State game because it's at home. I would worry if it was on the road.
I'll also say if you go 10-2 with a 2-1 record in non-conference, that could get you into the Big 12 championship game.
Yes, because that would be just one Big
loss,
12,
right?
One Big 12 loss. Yeah.
I bet you that Saturday,
and I would take
November 29th is a big game. It's
your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning. It is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studios of Double T 97.3. The Yates Flooring Center chat line is open for you at 806. It's go to doublet973.com for that, the Yates Flooring Center chat line. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open at 806-771-0973. We were talking just before the top of the hour about the tush push, and Jamie would get this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. The tush push I'm mixed on, but I hate how they essentially rugby scrum in the open field after standing up a ball carrier and everyone just piles on. It's so unfair for the defense. They just let the offense get extra yards where the ball carrier has nothing to do with it. And if the defense is able to take the ball away in the scrum, the refs ignore it and the call stop forward progress, even though they were still counting him forward. Yeah.
I completely agree with everything that was said there. Completely. Yep.
I would. To me, it's not football. I would like to see it taken out. I think it's gone beyond a little friendly brotherly shove, as they like to say in Philadelphia. And I agree with you that I'm shocked that a running back or even an offensive lineman, and maybe they have, and we just don't know, hasn't been hurt where it's going to affects a knee or an ankle, because those are the two areas that would seem to be most vulnerable. I mean, how many times do we see an offensive lineman get innocently knocked over, step on a foot or something like that, and he's got a knee or an ankle and is out for the year and it affects his career? I just, if they're going to talk about safety, that to me is one that you would kind of look at and go, I think we need to make a change there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So,
I mean,
it's funny
you could draft a bunch of 300-pound defensive linemen and go after it, right? So they couldn't do it against you.
Well,
that's allowed, right?
I think everybody does draft 300-pound defensive linemen, Jeff.
350. Or my point is that you can put bigger bodies on the defensive line and prevent them from pushing forward. We have seen for years defensive line, four-man defensive fronts beat your five-man offensive line, or three-man defensive fronts.
Okay, it's not football.
It's rugby. Kind of gives you a rugby feel. Yeah.
It's not football. Sorry.
And the past wasn't football until it was.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like it either. I'm a Cowboy fan. I've been on the wrong end of it, but it's an offensive play in football.
And the other part that's really odd to me is that why have more teams not done it?
Because not everybody has the offensive line that can do it. This is a credit to what the Eagles have put together for how effective it is.
Well, it's the offensive line. Obviously, you have a quarterback that is strong and can burrow and all those kind of things.
We are punishing the Eagles because they're good at something.
Yeah, no, I'm not adamantly against it, Jeff. I am not. And
I'm not adamantly, but it seems like it's just gotten evolved from a simple couple of linemen to like everybody lining up and then just pushing them forward.
The part that the only reason that I think that it should be changed, it's not because of the advantage it gives the Eagles. It's because I do fear about the ankles. I feel like that's a recipe for injured ankles of defensive players, ankles and knees. That was my only gripe. Is, I mean, again, other teams can do the same thing.
I would also feel a lot better about this being a submission for a rule change if it wasn't anonymous. If you can't put your name on it to say this needs to be changed, I really don't want to hear you.
Yeah.
No, that's fair too. All right, 8:05 this morning.
What if it's the Cowboys that are complaining?
I'll bet it is.
No, it's the Packers. It's come out that it's the Packers. Apparently. Okay, this is going to happen today, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with it today with regard to college football. The college football's 10 FBS conferences in Notre Dame are going to meet today at a hotel inside the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Don't know if they're going to make their intentions known or wait until 2026, but here's what they want. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to ask their fellow commissioners to change the seeding for the upcoming 2025 college football playoff, eliminating first-round byes for the 4 highest-ranked conference champions and basing seeding solely on the selection committee's rankings. If they do this, it would require a unanimous approval among the 10 conferences and Notre Dame, according to the contract language in the original deal with ESPN. Now, that deal expires this fall. So if it doesn't happen, then the Big Ten and the SEC are going to wait until next year when the new 6-year deal with ESPN, which gives them more decision-making without the need for unanimous vote. The seeding is only part of it. They also want to present an idea to go to 14 teams and reward the Big Ten and the SEC with 4 berths each. The ACC and the Big 12 would get 2, and the group of 5 would get 1, and the final team would be an at-large selection. Now, Brett Yormark has already said he's going to vote against this because if they do away with this, then basically you're giving up a lot of money to that Big 12 team that's guaranteed to be one of the teams that gets a bye.
Yeah, and you're not in the position of wanting to give away money.
Yeah, unless they come to you and say, well, because you're going to get this other bid, that's going to make up for the money that you would lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see, and so they've already had apparently talks with the Big 12 and the ACC, and the other, group of 5 commissioners will have to wait and see once they get into the meeting, to see what happens. But could be an end of the buys, and it could be a jump to 14 teams as soon as next year if everybody signs off on it today. I don't think either thing happens, but I think it's going to happen eventually, maybe with the 2026 football season.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen too.
Do you think it happens for this year, or do you think it's another year?
I wouldn't be shocked if it happened this year.
Yeah. I would be, if the Big 12 isn't going to lose any money, because you can't make a concession without getting one in return. So I would be for the 14-team tournament, but I'm not for the Big 12 losing any money.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.